How's it going out there, YouTubers? Cyberneticshark here with another all-new movie review for you. So let's go right into this review and see what movie I'll be talking about. So welcome to an all-new movie review, folks, out there in YouTube land and all subsequent social media ends. Welcome to this review. So this review is of a 1988 great action sports film, loosely based on a true story that really hasn't been proven true, but the individual that the movie's about has said that it is true and that he really competed in this, and so forth. Now, the 1988 film I'm talking about, of course, is the awesome film Bloodsport. Oh yeah, Bloodsport. This is such a great film, really well done, really classy, and just a really awesome action sports type of film, and is one of the first of its kind, really, I feel, of that era and time that really kind of paved the way for like action type of films like this, and really brought to life martial arts again, really, because if you remember correctly, like through the 70s and the late 60s, there was a lot of martial arts films, several with Bruce Lee, a lot with Jackie Chan, a lot of foreign ones too as well, but really I feel like kind of this film kind of got, United States back into the martial arts game and started making several martial art type of films, and just did a lot of, great job with that. But when it comes to Bloodsport, I just think it's a really well-crafted film, great action sequences, very realistic, great music, and just a really great storyline that made a really fantastic film. Now, this film was none other directed by a gentleman named Newt Arnold. Yeah, Newt Arnold. So Newt Arnold has done a few films over the years, several horror films actually. He's been assistant director, co-director on a lot of films. He's been a producer, he's been a writer. He's done pretty much everything, and mostly he's known for doing horror films, but he actually ended up making and being the director of the film Bloodsport. Now, a cool factoid about Newt Arnold is that he actually won 2 Directors Guild Awards, not only for being a co-director of 2 films, but just for being involved with them too as well. And those 2 films happen to be The Godfather Part 2, and then also the remake that starred Jack Lemmon of the remake of the 1957 classic 12 Angry Men as well, which I thought was a really cool factoid. Now, the only other 2 films he's really directed as a director I have not seen. I just recently learned about them, and they're 2 horror films. The first one is from 1962, and is basically about a guy that gets a hand transplant that is this pianist. That he actually ends up getting the hands of a murderer, and he ends up becoming a murderer himself, which is kind of an awesome, funny concept. And I think it's just really hilarious and fun, and just a really hilarious kind of, one of those 60s type of horror films, the transplant thing, kind of like the thing with 2 heads, or the brain that wouldn't die, and stuff like that. And it just sounded like a really funny film that had a great, just kind of like concept, I feel, that was really common back in time, because, transplants were kind of relatively new back in that time frame still, versus today where, this is done all the time now, where it was just beginning, people getting heart transplants, getting, kidney transplants and stuff like that. So, this movie was just hilariously, sounded fun, especially for hands anyways. And then the other film that he did was a film called Bloodthirsty that came out in 1971, and is a interesting film that basically what it's about is this woman that ages, is hundreds of years old, ages very slowly because she does a certain thing. And what she does is she has this monster that goes and kills people, and then she drinks the person's blood, and that's what keeps her youthful. So I thought that was a kind of a cool sounding film too. So I'll definitely have to look for Bloodthirsty to check out, because that sounds like a fun film. And the other film that I was talking about, this sounds really fun too, which is Hands of a Stranger. I definitely got to check that one out too. That one sounds fun as well. But I thought that Newt did a really great job of directing Bloodsport. Did a really fantastic job. Made it a very great film. I thought that the editing, the writing, everything about the film he had to take part in, he did a really fantastic job and gave this a really fantastic action flick. that really gave us this cool idea of this underground martial arts ring. And hopefully it's a real thing, and hopefully maybe they'll make more movies about it in the future, and maybe even Newt will come back to direct one, maybe. Who knows? You never know. But yeah, I thought Newt did a great job of directing this film. So this movie actually has a pretty fantastic cast. And at the time, I thought it was a pretty good ensemble cast of, some well-known actors that, had some pretty big success prior to this film, but also were just well-known around in the acting community. So to start off this awesome film, ranking of these actors is none other than the star himself, Mr. Frank Dukes of the film, Mr. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Oh yeah! So Jean-Claude Van Damme, we all recognize from a slew of films: Cyborg, Lionheart. We know him from a slew of films over the years. I mean, he's made so many films in the last, I would say, 10 years. He's constantly working. It's awesome. He was in Expendables 2. He's just a really awesome martial arts actor that does a lot of great action films, Time Cop, and so forth. Now, a couple of films I really enjoyed that he was in. It was none other than a great film. The first one I'm going to talk about is a great film based on an awesome action game series that was huge, popular in the arcades, and still is huge today. Everyone loves this game. It's a fantastic game, especially if you're a gamer. And that, of course, is a film called Street Fighter. Oh, yeah. Absolutely love Street Fighter. I saw it in theaters as a kid. I thought it was fantastic and fun. He just kicked butt as Guy. I loved his version of Kyle, what he brought to it. The character, I felt he really worked well and acted along Raul Julia as Bishop in the film. And I just thought his whole character and his persona of Guile was a really well done version of what, a live action version of Guile would be. Really greatly acted in the film, I thought, and I thought he was a really great casting choice for that film, and just a really well done film. Now, the second film he was in that I really enjoyed that he was in was also another action-packed film that had a huge following. That is the very first film of this series. He's actually gone on to do several of these films. I believe it's up to 4 now, maybe even 5 films that he just really rocked out in. I thought he was really fantastic in. And that, of course, is the film called Universal Soldier. Oh, yeah. This is such a great sci-fi action flick, and he was so awesome in it, along with Dolph Lundgren. And I just thought that he really brought to life his character, really gave us a really great kind of backstory and interpretation into what, a super soldier would be if they had their memories still intact after being basically brainwashed and put computerized pieces to try to make them into these invincible, soldiers, basically. And I just thought that he did a really good job of bringing that to life and carrying it throughout all the films that he's been in, too, as well. And I just thought he worked really well with everyone in that film and made a really fantastic action blast film. So if you haven't seen Universal Soldier or Street Fighter, definitely check them out, people. They're worth the watch. Now, when it comes to his portrayal in Bloodsport as Frank Dukes, I thought he did a really great job. I loved every aspect of his character. I loved how he wasn't super hugely, had a lot of dialogue in the film, but at the same time, when he did have dialogue, I thought it was really on point, really well done, and just really well executed. And I just thought his whole persona in the film was really fun, and I enjoyed his martial arts experience in the film too as well, and I thought he did a really fantastic job. If you haven't seen Bloodsport for Jean-Claude Van Damme's performance, definitely check it out. He is so awesome in it. So that brings me to the second person that's in this film. And I think this person is a really great actor too. I don't think he gets enough credit, and he hasn't had enough roles to really show that he's more than just, a big guy that can be kind of macho. But at the same time, I think that he has a lot of personality behind him when he plays the characters he does, and I just think he's an awesome actor. And that, of course, is Mr. Donald Gibb. Oh, yeah, Donald Gibb. Ooh, yeah, woohoo! So Donald Gibb, great actor, is a very iconic actor that has had a couple roles that he's really known for. And, of course, and Bloodsport is one of them. But a couple films I really enjoyed him in and thought he was fantastic in was none other than the great two films in this series of films that just was a blast to see him play this character, the character of Ogre. And that, of course, is a film called Revenge of the Nerds. Oh, yeah. Revenge. Revenge of the Nerds. Such a great film. And Donald Gibb as Ogre, he was absolutely freaking hilarious as this character. Super funny, super awesome, and just a really great pleasure to have in that film and the sequel to the second Revenge of the Nerds too as well. And he just kicked butt in those films and just was so funny. And I thought just a really great performance. Really enjoyed him, and I thought he was really fantastic in that film. Now, when it comes to the second film that he was in, I can't exactly remember his whole performance in the film, but what I do remember of his performance, I really enjoyed. And that, of course, is the film from 1998 that is a sequel to The Fugitive is, can you guess? The Patriot Games, right? No. It's U.S. Marshals! Oh, yeah! So U.S. Marshals is a great film, came out in 1998, starred Tommy Lee Jones again from his reprised role from The Fugitive film. Also starred Wesley Snipes and Robert Downey Jr. as well, too. And Donald Gibb plays a character named Michael. And what I remember from the role, I just really enjoyed his character and thought he was a good character for the film. And kind of complimented everyone else in the film. And just gave us a really great performance, too. That was showed really his dramatic side of acting versus his comedy, kind of persona and his action persona, which he portrayed in Bloodsport. And I just really enjoyed the performance altogether and thought he did a really fantastic job. But when it comes to his portrayal in Bloodsport, I thought he was so fantastic. I love the friendship that he gets and bonds with Jean-Claude Van Damme's character in the film. I just really enjoyed him, thought he was fun, and he felt very brotherly and felt just really like a really cool guy, and you kind of fell in love with his character. And I thought his whole persona in the film was on point and perfect for that type of character and that type of environment that he's going into. Really great performance by Donald Gibb, really great, and he was really a great addition to that film. So that brings me to the third actor in this film I really like to talk about. And that, of course, is the main bad guy in the film that's in Bloodsport, Chong Li. And that is played by the awesome and amazing Bolo Yang! Oh yeah! So Bolo Yang, he's been in a ton of Chinese martial art films over the years, dating back to the late 60s. He did a lot through the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and stuff like that. He actually is an actual martial artist that competed and contended and was a world champion and stuff like that. This guy is just awesome. And his portrayal of the main villain in Bloodsport, he was so awesome as that character. And you really hated him and really were like, holy crap, this guy is crazy. But a couple films that I've seen that he was in that I actually enjoyed was such a film that came out in 1973 and starts the late, great Bruce Lee. And that, of course, is the film called Enter the Dragon. Oh, yeah. So his portrayal in Enter the Dragon was a really awesome character. He actually portrayed a character given his name Bolo. And he just was really awesome and contended really well with Bruce Lee in the film. And, any of his parts, he just really kicked butt and just showed a really great, showed his ability of being a martial artist in the film. And I just thought he was a great compliment to the film with all the awesome martial artists that were in that film as well. Because Enter the Dragon is just a really fantastic film. And if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, people. It's worth a watch, really fun, and just a really great all-around performance by Bolo in that film and everyone that was involved, and just a really cool performance by Bolo as well. That brings me to the second film Bolo was in that I thought was a really fantastic film and a great role for him. And that, of course, is the awesome other Jean-Claude Van Damme film that came out in 1991 called Double Impact. Oh, yeah. So in this film, Jean-Claude Van Damme plays two character roles. He plays twins. Alex Wagner and the other Wagner person that are supposed to be twins, and they end up meeting each other in the film. And Bolo Yang actually plays one of the villains in the film, and he just rocked it as the villain character in this film, and just worked so well again with Jean-Claude, and they just worked really well off each other. You can see that their previous working of in Bloodsport, they worked even better off in this film, and just had a really great kind of antagonist villain type of perfection vibe, I feel, in that film. And it's just a really well-rounded action martial arts film, too, to begin with. That has lots of great action sequences that just had a really great writing, really great acting by all, and Bolo just kicked butt in that film. Really enjoyed it. If you're a fan of Bolo, definitely check out Double Impact if you haven't. It's a great film for his performance, and he's really awesome in the film. So when it comes to his character in Bloodsport, Bolo was really awesome, really well done, and very perfection at his villain character in the film. He just did a fantastic and amazing job. Really enjoyed his character, and just thought he was a great addition to that film as a villain, and just really enjoyed every aspect of how everyone just really, you sympathized with those that hated him, and just how much you just hated him yourself throughout the whole movie because he was just so evil. Really great performance by Below, and can't wait to see him in more stuff. Hopefully he will do more stuff soon. So that brings me to the final actor I like to talk about that's in this film. And that, of course, is the awesome, amazing, dramatic actor of all trades, Mr. Forrest Whitaker. Oh, yeah! So Forrest Whitaker, basically, we all recognize him from The King of Scotland. He was in a ton of films over the years. He's been in Repo Man. He's been in, ton of films that he's just really awesome at. And I just really enjoy him in everything I usually see him in. He just is a really fun actor to watch. Now, a couple films I really enjoyed him in and thought he was really fantastic in is none other than a great film that came out in 2002. And that is a great thriller, kind of invasion home robbery type of film that has a great thriller aspect to it and a great cast. And then, of course, the film called Panic Room. Oh, yeah. Panic Room. Yeah. So Panic Room is a great film, really well done, directed by David Fincher, and Forrest Whitaker is just really awesome in the film as one of the main villain-type characters that kind of becomes kind of like an anti-hero in the film. And he played so well off of everyone else that's in it, Jared Leto, Jodie Foster, Kristen Stewart. They all just worked really well together, and I thought that his character was really well developed, and he really brought him to life in the film. And you really kind of feel bad for him at the same time as hating him during the film. And I just thought that he did a really great performance in that film. The second film that Forrest Whitaker was in that I really enjoyed him in, thought he was a really fantastic character, was also a 2002 film that was so well done, really amazingly done, and just a really great kind of like all-in-one occupied area type of thriller film. And then, of course, the film called Phone Booth. Oh yeah, Phone Booth. Such a great film. So well done, so well executed. And Forrest Whitaker plays basically like a cop character in the film. And I just thought he was really fantastic in it and did a really amazing job with the role. And I thought he worked really well with Colin Farrell during the film. And just, you really believed that he wanted to help him, but also at the same time he wanted to get this done and over with. And he just was a really great character in the film. Really enjoyed his performance. Thought he was a really fantastic addition to the film. And just a really well-rounded performance. Now, it comes to a short role in Bloodsport. Even though it's not a huge role, he still was his classic Forrest Whitaker character. Basically, I feel he's usually the same in everything. And he just was really fun in the film for what parts that we got to see him in, and it was fun to see him at such a young age kind of bringing to life his character and giving us a really great kind of minor character in the film as well. So if you haven't seen Bloodsport and love Forrest Whitaker, definitely check out his performance in this film. He was fantastic in it. It was really done well. So if you're not familiar with what Bloodsport is about, basically it's about this underground martial arts ring called Kumite, and Jean-Claude Van Damme is a character named Frank Dukes, who this is loosely based on his real life, that he was actually in the Marine Corps, and he actually defies the Marine Corps and goes to Japan to fight in this to honor his late mentor that taught him the martial arts. And basically it's about kind of his role in this and his battle from the end to the top to becoming the new Kumite champion. It's a really well done film, really excellent, really fantastic. If you haven't seen it, definitely give it a whirl, people. It's worth a watch. Really great film based on a true story and just all-around great action flick that stars Jean-Claude Van Damme. So that's it for this movie review, guys. Always thank you for watching, thank you for liking, and also thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, or you have been here before, what are you waiting for? Do I have to ask Claude to do like a roundhouse kick and be like, touch that button? So yeah, hit that button so you don't miss this video or any awesome videos I put up, people. As always, keep your eyes out for any older new videos you might not seen mine yet. And as always, people, check out the awesome Horror Pack, which is a great subscription service that comes right to your door of horror films in either DVD or Blu-ray format, which is a really awesome, cool deal. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and check out the link down below, and also that link will get you a discount on your first month if you're a new-time subscriber. That's right, discount. And as always, people, catch you in the next one.